For years, players looked at remakes and remasters as unnecessary cash grabs. But has the landscape changed? There are 4 reasons why I believe that remakes and remasters are not only vital in today's gaming landscape, but are crucial in protecting our favourite hobby moving forward. The first benefit is fairly obvious, but it's also one of the biggest. Remakes and remasters introduce classic games to a completely new generation of players. Many of these games were released before players were either old enough to experience them or potentially even before they were born. There's a lot of games which the graphics, the gameplay has become a bit dated, especially when you consider modernized standards. While retro gaming absolutely has its place and is adored by millions of people across the globe, without spending a boatload of cash, there are a lot of experiences that are stuck in previous generations that won't ever be experienced again. By remaking games and bringing them to modern hardware, with modernized graphics and gameplay mechanics, developers can introduce these classic titles to a whole new generation that may not have ever experienced them otherwise. This not only preserves the legacy of particular titles, but it also expands that gaming community as a whole. By introducing aging IP to new generations, we can see the revitalization of older franchises for existing fans and new fans alike. There are several games that I've picked up recently that I'd never experienced. The Dead Space remake by EA Motive is a fantastic example of a game that was crafted with care, that is bringing a survivor horror title to a new generation of players that may have missed it at a younger age. I'd always been fascinated by Dead Space as a series, but I'm a bit of a wuss, and even more so when I was younger, I never took the leap into the series. But I've always kept a close eye on it. From an outsider looking in, it always looked terrific and exciting. There was no way that I was missing it this time now that it was being released. And after playing it, I'm so glad that I did. If remakes are handled with as much care as EA and Motive took with Dead Space, I welcome as many as possible. There are many ways the games can be updated with modernized gameplay mechanics, adding online functionality, updating and refining graphics and audio, as well as a really big one, accessibility features. Remakes give developers the opportunity to take what made the original title so beloved, but build upon it with modernized technology and gameplay design principles. A huge reason to return to older titles is with the attempt to make games far more accessible, not only for players on newer hardware, but also for players with disabilities. Developers in recent years have been far more focused on accessibility, and by modernizing games, we're giving more people the ability to play beloved franchises with these accessibility features in mind. Returning to older games can result in a more polished and enjoyable experience overall, with better graphics, smoother gameplay, and updated mechanics that make the game far more enjoyable, especially when treated with care. The Last of Us Part 1 got a lot of criticism when it was announced for PS5 because it had already been remastered or remade for the PS4 after its original release in 2013 on the PS3. However, Naughty Dog's focus on bringing this story to current-gen consoles gave them an opportunity to not only improve the graphics, the gameplay mechanics, and AI systems, but also provide industry-leading accessibility options. And that way, more and more gamers could experience one of the best games in modern history. Gaming remakes and remasters give existing fans an opportunity to experience a beloved title in a completely new way. For those who played the original game, a remake can bring back a lot of nostalgia, while also providing a fresh experience. Often you'll remember a game a certain way, and returning to the original title can actually ruin that first experience. However, when returning to games with a fresh coat of paint, it often feels like your memory is being realized in real time. An excellent example of a remake providing a lot of nostalgia to players, but also revitalizing and giving a fresh take on that story is Final Fantasy VII Remake. There was a lot of concern when that game was announced because of how truly loved the original was. But they took a unique spin on the narrative and story that meant that players that were new to the game and players that had already experienced the game in its entirety when it released on the PlayStation 1 back in the day, gave everyone a completely new experience. The success of the long-awaited return of Crash Bandicoot with the Insane trilogy reinvigorated the franchise. We saw fans come out in droves, and because of the success there, we saw a fourth title in the series.
How many times have you beaten this clown anyway?
3.
Really? Only 3? Funny. Seemed like more.
It not only brought Crash to the modern era, but it maintained what was truly special about the original series. We also received a remaster to the beloved Crash Nitro Kart, which is often considered to be one of the best kart races available. And we're getting a completely new game, Crash Team Rumble, shortly this year. Without the success of the Insane trilogy, we would not be seeing new additions to the franchise that has been completely reinvigorated because of the initial remaster. Many classic games are no longer available on modern consoles, making them difficult to access for new players. The Completionist recently completed an incredible YouTube video where Gerard and his team dedicated thousands of dollars as well as countless hours to purchase every single
EVERY Nintendo 3DS and Wii U game on the eShop.
All in the name of preservation. A lot of games are lost to time, especially considering that a lot of new games require some form of online functionality. PT is an excellent example of a game lost to time due to the breakdown of the relationship between Konami and Kojima. Created as a teaser for a new Silent Hill entry, PT is highly regarded as one of the best horror games to ever grace PlayStation consoles. There are a number of players that have managed to preserve the game on their hard drives, all because it was removed from the PlayStation Store in 2015, and it is not currently playable on the PS5. By remaking games, developers can preserve the legacy and ensure that it remains accessible for future generations. This is important for gaming history, as it allows new players to experience games that helped shape the industry as we know it. In conclusion, gaming remakes and remasters are a fantastic way to not only introduce new players to incredible titles, they can improve upon the original game, making them far more accessible, reintroduce franchises, and reinvigorate fans. And lastly, they can preserve gaming history. While some may argue a lot of them are a simple cash grab, remakes can bring a tremendous amount of value to the gaming community as a whole. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below on 2 things: games that you would love to see remade or remastered, and the remakes and remasters that you've enjoyed the most recently. Thanks for watching.